CBO 両エル様です。それではご対談いただきます。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Hello everyone. This panel is going to be a VC panel. So today we have actually 4 of my business partner. At the same time, they are all my friends too. So we just, want to ask some simple but very important questions from this great VC. So today we have Joanna from JSquare VC. Say hello to everyone.
Yeah, hello everybody. Do I need to make introduction right now?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm Joanna Liang, the CEO and co-founder of JSquare. We are basically a research and tech-driven venture partner with venture capital that focuses on facilitation of the Web3 mass adoption. And I co-founded and co-founded the JSquare with my business partner James in 2021, and we are basically self-funded without any outside LPs. And right now we are managing an AUM of over $150 million in total. And so far we invested over 60 projects. Besides the investment part, we also have an in-house tech team who runs nodes and validators for our portfolio companies and some protocols, and also the evaluation of the technology part.
Thank you. We have Tony from NGC.
Hello, morning guys. Konnichiwa mina. Tokyo ni correct yukata. 私は名前は Tony です。From NGC Ventures from Singapore. NGC Ventures has been around since end of 2007. We've been through, up and downs. The last cycle, we managed 3 funds so far. Total AUM is about $500 million. Invested globally, 100 plus projects, most likely in technology-driven innovations, right? In infrastructure, layer 1s, middlewares, sets of companies, license, banks, exchanges, all across ecosystems. We have about 20 employees globally, based in US, Singapore, China, and London, etc. We don't have any team here in Japan yet. That's why we're here, looking forward to partnership with you guys. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Tony, by the way, how much fund assets you guys managing this moment?
Right now it's about $500 million US dollar.
That's a lot. We have Jerome from EBG.
Hello everyone, this is Jerome, the co-founder and CBO of Everest EBG. We are based in Hong Kong. We are a Web3 venture building studio. What we basically do is we wear both hats of an investor and also a builder. So we build companies, we build applications. We consider us as pretty much like a multi-product company, kind of similar to like consensus structure. But at the same time, we also do invest into Web3 projects. I would say some of the main thesis of us is infrastructure, financial like use cases, and also emerging use cases like GameFi, SocialFi, content ownership, etc. We are based out of Hong Kong, so I guess like many of you might have heard about Hong Kong regulators right now have been pretty bullish and setting up a lot of like crypto-friendly policies in Hong Kong. And definitely I think one of the purpose of me this trip is to also want to explore collaborations with some Japanese companies here, and also to open up that Hong Kong, Japan corridor in the Web3 economy. Thanks.
Thank you. We have Leo from LK Ventures.
Hi everyone. Good morning. This is Leo from LK Ventures. First, thanks for TEAMZ invitation to Web3 Summit. So LK Ventures, we are based in Hong Kong. We established in 2013. 17. We focus on crypto and Web3 investments. Our previous name is Consensus Lab. Yeah. So maybe some old friends will be familiar with Consensus Lab. And we based on Hong Kong, and we belongs to Hong Kong's listed company named Lancome Group. Yeah. So our focus on Web3 and crypto, and our past portfolio includes FTX, Polkadot, Bitcoin, and Casper Labs, and LPay, and some other star projects. So we expect to cooperate with more opportunities in Japan with the Japanese friends, and very looking forward. That's all.
Thank you. So my first question is, I do think in today's conference, instead of the audience, we probably have some entrepreneurs who are doing Web3 projects. So the first question is, as an investor, VC funds, especially this year or next, let's say 3 or 5 years, what is the change for this industry?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think this is a very interesting question. So actually, in the past 2 years, I've been traveling to different countries, like over 10 so far, to attend different conferences, and I've really seen so many interesting and very promising trends, including LSD, NFT, layer 2s, including JK rollups, AI and VR, and a lot. And so what makes me most excited are, I think, 3 aspects. The first is AI. I just came from Bay Area 2 days ago. So yeah, still experiencing my jet lag right now. But what I observe is that I think the combination of AI and blockchain will be very promising in the next few years, from both training and inference areas. And so for training side, actually we, taking one of our portfolio companies as an example, we invested in Jensen, which is a decentralized compute system where users can input your data and you can have your own data trained by decentralized nodes, the network of nodes. And so everybody or every company or every industry can have your own training models in the future. And it can also does a lot of verification for the training. So this is from the training side. And for inference side, I think we are entering an era of LLM future. So there will not only be one models for one industry in the future, there will be a lot. So we need some navigation to do the inference part for different kinds of on-chain the training models. So this is I've really seen a lot of such very good projects in Bay Area this time. So this is something that I think is very promising. And the other thing that makes me really excited is the VR part. As we know that this June, the Apple will hold the conference, the Worldwide Developer Conference, and we all expect that the VR, the virtual reality headsets and mixed reality headsets will come out then. So I think with the advancement of the technology and fundamentals, the future metaverse will evolve and reveal in front of us. And so actually, I think what makes metaverse are 2 most important points. The first is the immersion, the deep immersion experience for users. And the second should be decentralized, the borderless metaverse areas. And so a combination of traditional technology and blockchain should be very important. This is my answer.
Thank you. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, I think Web3, AI is part of Web3, and blockchain is another part of it. I think in the future, Web3 is basically taking over the world. But that's I think that's a trend, it's a big trend. Back to the blockchain industry itself, what I see in the last 5 years, right? I think the only thing that doesn't change in blockchain is keep changing. It's changing so fast. It's disrupting industries, disrupting itself at very fast speed compared to any other business industry. I think we have two patterns I've seen so far, which is I call Babel. What do I mean by Babel? Is that during this pace changing, there are some things that it didn't really change. I mean, for example, you still need a chain, right? Somehow you still need a chain. Layer 1, maybe layer 2, layer N. So I think the chain will be there. There will be many chains, and that will stay. As well as you see in trading, you see a lot of traders on Web3. I think that will stay as well. In the last 2 cycles, they never go, right? So these are the things that will stay there. That will things that will change, which on one side of the barbell, right? Okay, then on the other side of the barbell, is things that keep changing. One example is metaverse. Now we're talking about AI. 12 months ago, everyone was talking about metaverse. Now the Meta in Facebook is not doing metaverse anymore, right? So you see, it's keep changing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the industry is innovating so fast that it will disrupting and find something that is really creating value for the business, right? So just keep an eye on, whatever that is changing and remain. I think it will stay there for long. So I think as a Babel kind of a structure, it's going to be kind of a structure of industry for the next 5 years. Yeah, that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen?
So at Everest, right, our main thesis is always 3 things. One is infrastructure, second, financial use cases, third is emerging use cases. When it comes down to infrastructure, we have always been talking about like wallets, right? Because wallet is really the first entry point for whoever wanted to enter Web3 space. I guess right now there isn't enough mass adoption of digital wallets in the space. I mean, there have been a lot of innovation in the wallet space. We've seen like account abstraction, EOA, a lot of different types of all these sick wallets and whatsoever. And we have also been seeing a lot of wallets that's doing like offering that kind of like Web2 user experiences, right? Like for example, like logging in with a email account, and then you can also achieve social recovery if, let's say, you forgot your password. I mean, these are some of the innovations within the space that is basically helping users to easily onboard into the Web3 space. Because I would have to say, like right now, the breakpoint or the huge hindrance, obstacle for people to get to Web3 is really a lot of applications is pretty hard to use, right? And just setting up MetaMask is a pain in the ass. So I think a lot of these innovations on the wallet side will be pretty interesting. And also, the other speakers, Tony and Joanna, also speak about maybe some scalability issues, layer 2 ZK rollups, and this has been happening pretty quickly. We've been seeing a lot of innovations like optimistic rollup, ZK rollup, whatsoever. And definitely, I think the space is gonna evolve pretty quickly because we've seen Ethereum's there's scalability issues, and that's why there's the emergence of layer 2s. And definitely, I think with a higher throughput, definitely that can be scaled globally. Because right now, I think a major problem is the gas fee is pretty high. It's very hard for a lot for mainstream users to come in because the cost is high. And why not just stick around with their Web2 applications right now? And I think on the financial side, pretty much we've been seeing 2 things, right? One is retail mass adoption, and the second is institutional adoption. Let me just give an example on the institutional adoption aspect. We've seen Hong Kong approving ETFs this year. So the first one is being obtained by a Chinese asset manager, CSOM. The second one is being obtained by Samsung Securities in Hong Kong. So I think with these kind of regulatory, the policy changes, like approving ETFs is pretty much a very good first step for institutional money to come into the space. Because again, for institutions, for them to set up like the whole infrastructure just to get into the space is still a little bit hard, right? So through ETFs, it's easier for these institutional money to come into the space, and that is tremendous amount of money. And on the retail side, definitely, I just kind of mentioned about wallet innovations. I think that's still evolving, so we're looking forward to more and more like easy to use innovations within that space. And again, on emerging use case, I mean, definitely we are also looking into a lot of different like GameFi, SocialFi, like content ownership whatsoever. But I think what is also very interesting, which also kind of hinges upon the infrastructure and the financial aspect, is like financial inclusion in emerging markets, right? Because we have been doing a lot of investments in Africa as well. We have a dedicated African fund within EVG. And what we've been trying to do is we see that in African countries, a lot of users, maybe in Japan or maybe in advanced countries, we don't really feel the pain because the underlying infrastructure, the original Web3 infrastructure has been pretty advanced. So when we do payment, digital payment or whatsoever, the cost is low. However, imagine yourself as an African worker and you work in Dubai as a foreign worker, and every time when you receive your salary, you have to remit that salary back to your home country. And right now, the traditional banks is like charging you around 8 to 9% fees, which is pretty insane for a emerging market worker. And also, not to mention that a lot of these workers, they are underbanked. Like they couldn't even open a bank account in a traditional bank, so they don't really have the accessibility to enjoy basic financial instruments and investment instruments. So I think the emergence of DeFi, the emergence of wallets is exactly the basic infrastructure for whoever people like is treating everyone on an equal ground and offering them an access into this very rich like financial world like in the Web3 space. So I think that's pretty interesting, financial inclusion in emerging markets. And also, Joanna and Tony also mentioned about AI. I want to kind of add a little bit comments on that. Is that I think right now the problem with AI, ChatGPT and whatnot, is that it's owned by private entities, right? It's owned by OpenAI, it's owned by Microsoft. And the beauty of blockchain is that it's transparent, it's an open source revolution. What does it mean? For example, if I am a user on ChatGPT, what I'm really doing is that I'm contributing my data. I'm a consumer of the data, and basically I'm contributing my data into this black box of algorithm, and basically I don't have an idea how it's going to use, how it's going to manipulate, like how my data would be used in other cases. And just let me give an example, like I was an investment banker by training. A lot of my ex-colleagues, they are really fascinated with ChatGPT. However, a lot of banks or consulting firms are not allowing them to use it because they are afraid there will be a breach of privacy and also a lot of sensitive data will be input to this black box, right? And that's a really huge problem. But when we come to in blockchain, there's a really beautiful like value distribution mechanism where there are like different participants within the market. There's like DApps developer, there's validators of nodes, there are like foundation, there's team, there's like consumers, us ourselves. It's kind of like the concept of consumerization, us being the consumer but also having a stake within this protocol. And I think that really transformed the whole concept of value distribution mechanism, because in the ChatGPT AI world right now, it's pretty much a one-fold. Like we are a single directional being, just a single consumer of that. We can't really participate into the value pool of this ChatGPT, but in blockchain, we can enjoy the value distribution. So in the future, I'm pretty bullish that there will be convergence of AI and also blockchain. And I think if we can transform AI in a blockchain manner, making it more open, transparent, that would be a huge leapfrog of human revolution.
Great insight. What about you, Leo?
I totally agree with Jerome and Tony and Joanna. Very amazing answers. So in my opinion, I think there are two keywords of the Web3 investment future. First is from Web2 to Web3. So you know there are many innovations from the infrastructure to the apps. So if there are more and more innovations, so also the developers and the users can join the Web3 world. So that's maybe make the Web3 industry flourishing. Yeah, that's one point. And the second keyword is mobile first. So you know we spend more and more time on TikTok, on some other apps on Web2 and Web3 world. So if in Web3 world there are some gaps like TikTok, so you can spend more time on Web3 world. Recently, we contacted a project named Dago. His work is to make the iOS devices to become cold wallet. So maybe if he is succeed, so maybe some more Web3 users will come into our industry. So I think mobile first is a very important trend in Web3 industry. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Actually, I prepared more questions because the time limited. I think next year definitely we will keep more time for our panels. So my last question for four of you. We have around 3 to 5 minutes. When you talk with project, some of the investors, some of the funds, they are more focusing on data, they're more focusing on the people, you know, the team, or based on the business model, token economy. What are you know, the main point for you to make the final decision, the investment, the deal? Which point that the most important thing for you? Oh, we start from you. Okay. One person,
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah. I think the first thing is label. Label means the biggest or the fastest or the most users or the world first. Yeah. If you have this label, I think the market or the users will remember you. So I think there is a good PR or market ways to make people to know your project. So I think this is a very good point to make the investment decision. Yeah, that's my point.
Marketing.
Label, yeah, label is first.
Yeah. What about you, Jerome?
I think that every venture capital firm has a scorecard on evaluating teams like tech, product market fit, TAM, the total addressable market, and a lot of like the tokenomics and whatnot. If there's a token. But what I really care a lot about is just to highlight one point, right? Is the team being able to adapt. So adaptability is really, really crucial in Web3 because we've been seeing so many changes. Like it's pretty much changing every minute, right? Who could have expected the collapse of Luna, the collapse of FTX, whatsoever? And it's pretty hard to predict a lot of these things in Web3, right? And being adaptable in an ever fast-changing world, especially in Web3, I think is really, really crucial. And what I mean by that is that being adaptable, if there's a narrative change in Web3, then definitely you have to catch up because narratives, there's so many narratives in Web3, and you have to really understand what the users are really chasing after and what kind of product market fit you can offer to the market, right? And I think being adaptable and really weather the storm and being able to stay there and deliver the product and pretty much offering value to the users is really important. So,
Tony?
There are two things I'm looking at any projects, right? Very simple. One thing is where to play. Which marketplace you are going to play. Where to play it. I think a lot of people know that pretty well. play in the team, the games. So where to play, that has to be articulated very well. But most importantly, second question, is how to win. Right? I mean, a lot of times you see many teams just saying what I want to do, but never say why I'm going to win. Right? So we are always looking for the winning team. It doesn't matter. I mean, it could be your technology, your business connection, or your employees. But there must be a reason why you will win. So the winning team is what we are looking for. That's my point. Thank you.
Joanna?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. So there are actually 4 critical selection criteria that I'm focusing on. The first is vertical or area. So what kind of problems are you trying to solve? And what are you in the right vertical or area? So this is the most important thing. And second should be the team background, team track record, and if you need something very solid, if you need some solid like technology, do you have such like technical background to handle this problem? And the third is the cost. The cost always comes with the liquidity problems. And the last is community, because I think community is actually the key feature in blockchain industry, and a strong community means a strong consensus. So so building a strong community is very important as well.
Thank you. I think that is the whole panel. 4 of you really gave a lot of great insights for the trend. What is most important thing for projects, the team, right? Try to find when you talk with VC investors. I do hope not only like we talk here, at the same time we have a lot of projects. We have also investors, funds, people in this conference. Let's make more friends from this summit. Thank you for joining this panel. We had really great time. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
5名の皆様、対談ありがとうございました。とても興味深い内容でございました。